Hey guys, welcome back. Joe here again, ScaleFreak.com, coming to bring you another part install and quickie review on the DS Racing Kamikaze variable motor mount for the 3 Racing Sakura D4. Mine here is the rear wheel drive. Open this bad boy up real quick. As you can see, I still have all the stock motor mounting system on here. Nice flat to the chassis, which is great, except for the fact that there's nothing wrong with a little body roll and drift, guys. So I want to make it so that there's a little more higher center of gravity weight. Very weird to me, by the way. I come from the racing world where the whole idea is slam this stuff as close to the ground as possible and control your suspension like crazy. Drift stuff kind of freaks me out. I'm supposed to have body roll, and I need to bring my center of gravity up, and that's what this thing's going to do. I've seen some other stuff from other brands in the past where it does lift the motor up, but it's pretty much in a static position. This Kamikaze system, though, is a wee tad bit different because it's actually a variable adjustment. You can move the motor to what works best for you, which is awesome because some people drift in different ways. Some people want the motor more heavy towards the middle, more heavy to the back. Some people want the motor really high. Some people just won't fit their body. So let's kind of take a look at how the installation of this thing goes. Now, first of all, I'm not going to show you how to dismantle all this stuff, but pretty much we're going to pull the motor out. We're going to take off this side of the system, and I'll tell you what, I'll be right back. Very quickly disassembled. We're talking 3, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 screws and a pin, and I've got this stuff all undone. Now, the stock motor mount system is just this, and it screws into all the plastic stuff. Works perfect. There's nothing wrong with this part, and again, if you don't need to do all the crazy upgrades, you don't necessarily have to. I'm actually really impressed with how strong this system is. But again, we do have the people who are concerned with weight. So, there's the old part, 0.2 ounce. Couple plates are going on this one, so 1 ounce. That's the difference that we're making. We're going, well, basically 5 times heavier is basically what's about to happen with this. So please keep in mind that when you're going to make adjustments to the kit, you're adding that weight all on the right side of the kit, so that might upset your balance a little bit. But of course, like I said before, you are bringing your motor up pretty high. So adjustments will be made. You'll see how it'll work with your setup. But give me a couple minutes. I want to get this thing a little more undone and then start the process of putting it back together. When screwing the screws back in, please remember one thing. The thickness of this plate is a wee tad bit thicker than the thickness of that plate. So what's actually going to happen is this top screw here that goes into the cross member here, or the cross brace, is not going to work correctly because the screw will not be long enough. You're going to have to dig through a pit box and find a screw that's going to be a bit longer. Also, please remember that the rest of the screws in the setup are just going to bite the end of their threads, maybe a couple turns in. So if you're a little not confident, or you think your kit's going to vibrate a ton and you want to get a little bit more meat on those screws, look through your pit box and find a couple things that are a little bit longer, because like I said, they're just going to reach. So there's the initial plate installed. You can see that's on there. A little bit more JDM saying Kamikaze Japan. So that's all set up there. I can't believe I just said JDM. I'm really sorry, guys. That's like, oh, that's terrible. This, of course, is going to set up like this. So you're going to have multiple screws to mount this thing in. You're going to have, okay, and these screws do not come with it, so you need to find your own screws. This is what I'm talking about, adjustment. When I get the screws in here, of course, I can lock down to which motor position I want it to be, and I can tilt the motor as to what its best setup is for my running. So, I mean, if this ACG kit wasn't here, I'd be able to dial it even further back to about that far, and then you've got all these little screw holes, and you can see all the adjustability, all these little adjustable spots all the way along the line. These are just to hold the slider in, the big slider. These are all the little screws. They're all threaded holes as well. Just make sure you get a screw that's going to be long enough for you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do just a really quick test mount, because I want to make sure that my body is going to fit over top of my motor being in a high position. And what I do want to stress to you right now is I'm actually not sure what's going to work best for me, which position. So on Sunday, I'm going to do a whole bunch of test and tune to find out exactly what the best position for my running style is. So I will do a follow-up video on this thing here to kind of explain what happens in different positions. So give me 1 second. I just want to test mount this thing and start to get it all done in. So mounted back on, you can see I've got this thing kind of on a forward tilt angle, solely for the purpose that that's about as long as my wires are going to go. So please keep in mind, I'm using a sensor wire that is just long enough to reach out to there. But also keep in mind that now the location of my motor means if I really wanted to, I could move my ESC and all that stuff down to the back. So if I really wanted to put more weight on the back, now I've got all that room as well and kind of level off a little bit of weight. So that's something for consideration a little bit later. Maybe through the weekend I'll test and tune that as well. But as it sits right now, you can see I've got it up nice and high, still sort of the same motor position, just higher. So the weight, in theory, I don't have any scales here, is still kind of in the same position on the chassis, kind of. I know the physics are a little messed up, but it's higher, which is going to allow more body roll, which is what I'm actually looking for. So give me a couple seconds. I just want to get the rest of this stuff all set in here so that this whole thing is back together. And if you've built this kit, you actually know how easy this stuff is to put together, how easy this whole drive system is to set up. I was really honestly, really impressed when I originally built this kit on how easy it was to put together. I really expected it to be not difficult, but at least a couple points higher on the skill rating when assembling it. But really, this thing went together so well, so easy. You know, it was kind of a I guess there's a good reason why I built 3 of them in a weekend, right? So just pop that pin back in. And then, of course, this cool spur gear. I love how this design goes on. You just slap that sucker back on, put the cover back on the front, and screw it all back in. So give me a second. I want to get the motor all meshed up, get this thing all set up correctly. And yeah, you know what? Just give me a minute. All of that installed. If I wasn't filming it, I said I'm going to give it 10 to 15 minutes that thing would be installed. Screws out, back in. Have a couple extra longer screws just to be sure. Set your mesh up correctly, which I haven't done yet, so I'll do that in 1 second. And put your stuff all back together. If you are going to extend the motor mount all the way back, just have yourself a longer sensor cable or move your ESC. You take your pick as to what you would like to do. I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet. I may actually move the ESC back because I do have a bunch of weight on the back that I could remove, and that will make things a little bit more direct. So we'll see. I got lots of wire left, so we'll see what happens. But in reality, again, what this is going to do is when I drift the car, it's going to allow the whole chassis, a little more weight up top. It's going to cause the whole thing to lean more, which is really what I want to do. Especially with the ACG kit on the back, it's going to make a difference. And that's what it is. So, and again, if I put the body on like that, about center, I got lots of room. I don't know if you can actually see that in there, but it's not touching the roof. It's not touching the back. It's golden. It's going to be a good setup. So I can't wait to try that out. Up nice and high off the chassis. I'm not going to worry about anything coming off the bottom on here. And rock and roll. Kind of wanted to show you how that was done. Consider this thing. I picked this thing up from RC Mart. Again, they had it shipped to me here in Canada really quickly. This thing actually made it here quicker than it would have made it from the States. So good on them for that. And yeah, definitely thanks to CowRC for these little mats, because there was a couple of screws I almost lost with this one. Dropped the kit a couple times and just about shot screws everywhere. But the magnetic mat helps me keep all my stuff together. So guys, thank you very much for watching the video. If you have any questions or comments about this part, please put them in the comment section down below. Of course, please share this throughout your community just in case there's anybody who could use this information. And as always, please click the like and please subscribe to the channel if you have not already. So thanks for watching, guys. Have a great day.